To get free and earned media coverage, you have to tell them a compelling story. There are many ways to do that. One, you can find what's trending in the news right now. So you can take a topic or a new study that came out and say, hey, I can talk about this, or I can
Mm.
add insight to this. So those are the ways: trending topics, recognition days, anything that's monumental that you think would be interesting. When you are thinking about pitching to a reporter, I would ask yourself, what makes this newsworthy? What would make me open up my phone and read that story? What would the headline say?
Mm.
And that is how you
That's
pitch a
good.
reporter. So, for
Yeah.
example, if I was a designer, I would pitch myself during Fashion Week. I would say, hey, I'm an expert. I have my own clothing line, and I can break down what are the top 5 trends in fashion that we're likely to see at Fashion Week. So then you've positioned yourself as an expert and you've made them say, oh, okay, let me see if we get her in to talk about fashion and what's trending this summer based on what we're seeing in Fashion Week. Or you could say, hey, I want to break down how the everyday woman can take what she saw at Fashion Week or heard about at Fashion Week and put that into her own closet. How can she make that her own style? How can she translate that? And I would pitch myself out in that way to a reporter. Or if it's Small Business Awareness Month, I would say one of the businesses, did you know, I would look up some stats that, 50% of, businesses out there, I'm just making up a stat, are
Mm.
involved in fashion. The fashion industry makes up 20% of all entrepreneurs or 50% of all entrepreneurs. I would do some research and say this business, this Small Business Month, want to tell the story of a local fashion designer in your industry is who's one of 20% who are now entrepreneurs, and it's a growing industry. So that is another thing that can be really timely. Anytime you can take stats that can relate and you can share your story that way, those are really compelling. The third thing that I think is also really compelling when you're pitching to reporters is to have a personal story.
Mm.
Somebody who was touched by your brand, right? Somebody who was impacted. Those kind of stories, because reporters, you don't want to come across like it's an advertisement. You want to come across as I'm an expert in fashion
Mhm.
that is giving you insight. And as a byproduct of me giving you insight, you're going to mention my brand.